Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. Need to turn that up just a touch. Welcome back to Let Us Play. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Good to see you all. Good to see you, Ariam. Good to see you, Kit. Good to see you, Mel. And Ariam, congratulations. You've won the crown of Firstendom, the crown of saving hearts from getting Norded, because that's what we're up to today. And Craig, good to see you. Mel, that is fantastic news about your dad. I'm super happy to hear that the surgery went well. He's doing better. Happy to pray. I'm glad to know the Yankee prayers worked. And I hope things work out in terms of helping him as a home health aide. And Quacksplat, good to see you. So before we dive into more Kingdom Hearts 3, we do have our Lenten reading of Gaudium et Spes. We're on anyone who's following online. This is paragraph 25. The social nature of humanity shows that there is an interdependence between personal betterment and the improvement of society. What do you mean I can't just do this by myself? Insofar as humanity, by our very nature, stands completely in need of life in society, we are, and we ought to be, the beginning, the subject, and the object of every social organization. Life in society is not something accessory to humanity ourselves. Through our dealings with others, through mutual service, and through fraternal dialogue, humanity develops all our talents and becomes able to rise to our destiny. Along the social ties necessary for humanity's development, some correspond more immediately to our innermost nature, the family, for instance, and the political community. Others flow rather from our free choice. Nowadays, for various reasons, mutual relationships and interdependence increase from day to day and give rise to a variety of associations and organizations, both public and private. Socialization, as it is called, is not without its dangers, but it brings with it many advantages for the strengthening and betterment of human qualities and for the protection of human rights. While on the one hand, in fulfilling our calling, even our religious calling, humanity is greatly defined by life in society. On the other hand, it cannot be denied that we are often turned away from the good and urged to evil by the social environment in which we live and in which we are immersed since the day of our birth. Without doubt, frequent upheaval in the social orders are in part the result of economic, political, and social tensions. But at a deeper level, they come from selfishness and pride, two things which contaminate the atmosphere of society as well. As it is, humanity is prone to evil, but whenever we meet a situation where the effects of sin are to be found, we are exposed to further inducements of sin, which can only be overcome by unflinching efforts under the help of grace. So look at that. The church says social organizations are generally good, not perfect. But, there is a reality of us both as individuals that our self-betterment is important, but also the betterment of the community. And we have to understand both, not in tension or competition, but working hand in hand. So with that said, let's dive into Kingdom Hearts 3, where Sora certainly focuses on the betterment of his community. Maybe not himself. He sometimes puts himself second. Hey, Chuzo. Thank you for the lurk. I don't think I've ever seen a place more beautiful. You haven't seen that place yet. You haven't done... I mean... Spoilers.
We like to rescue Buzz.
Come on, fellas.
Thank you, guys. I was wondering what we were doing here, facing this dark corridor. Cutscene 1.
It looked like this?
Yep.
Well, there is a time and a place for the monastic and what's called eremitical, the hermit lifestyle. It is still a thing in the life of the church. It's a thing in canon law, but even then, hermits pray for the good of the community, even if they don't directly interact with it.
Xehanort!
What do you want with my friend?
Look, such tremendous darkness. All because he was ripped away from the boy who cares about him most.
Does that mean we'll all be like Buzz?
No.
If we don't find Andy?
Wrong! Distance doesn't matter. Andy's part of their hearts, just like my friends are part of mine. You can't rip that apart.
What? Your friends are your power?
Yes.
How very true. But if the light of friendship is a form of power, the darkness of being alone is a power even greater. Darkness
No,
is
it's
the
not
heart's
necessarily
true
greater.
nature.
Whatever you're talking about, I don't care. Put Buzz back the way he was.
Best line in the
then
game.
Get lost.
Or else what, toy?
Yeah, I am a toy. And a friend. My guess is no one's ever loved you before. Because you know nothing about hearts and love.
There are hearts all around us, trying to connect. Your loneliness only made Woody and Buzz's connection stronger. That's the heart's true nature, to never ever let go. Wherever they are, Andy and the other toys haven't let go either.
Yeah, you can't keep us from Andy. We're going home no matter what. And taking Buzz.
Xehanort, you're so caught up in finding the shadows, you forgot about the light that cast them.
I love that Woody, of all people, gives the big bad villain the dressing down he deserves. Hey there, Hope.
Woody, now!
Giddy up, partner. We got
pretty logical argument.
Wagon train a moving.
I do have a copy of Aristotle's Rhetoric
Woody.
over there.
Wait, how did I get here?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe somebody switched you into dark and stormy mode.
But I don't have a...
Ha! Humor! Yeah, he does. We
Thank
we
you,
learned that last
Woody.
week. And it
Good to have you back, Buzz.
sounds really good.
We can't hold him much longer!
Don't give up,
But I do
guys!
love Woody's line. I don't know who you are and I don't
So
care.
even empty puppets can be given strong hearts. I am going to have to remember that.
Remember this.
Oh,
our
the,
hearts
but
will
that
always
means
be
okay,
connected
you're
to
right. Yeah.
Andy's.
Mhm.
No matter what you do.
And that's something you'll never understand. Because you're hollower than any toy.
But now I know
Ooh,
a
sick
heart
burn.
can be placed in the vessel of our choosing. For that, let me give you a parting gift to play with.
Wait!
Find the heart's joined to yours.
Why does he say that so quickly? Find the heart's joined to yours.
There!
Careful! Whoa!
Alien.
Here goes. Back off!
Oh, right. My shot lock is very close proximity. Village should have been Sid. Yeah, but they were definitely completely sold on their meta narrative at this point, and like that's the only one we're allowed to have. It's good to know, Goofy. What? No! This town barely is big enough for you, Woody. I mean, look at this. We are literally fighting on top of that playmat that everyone had as a kid. Said Hybrid Heartless. Well, wait until the next world. That's one. I'd like to do a podcast, and I've tried to get a couple people involved in this, and no one's really said yes yet, unfortunately. But it would be basically ranking the Kingdom Hearts worlds on different things. One, how well do they use the original Disney story? How well do they use the Kingdom Hearts meta story? Like, how do they fit into that? And how are the actual mechanics and gameplay of that level? And ranking them on that.
Come on, Sora! Hang on! Go time!
Haha! Haha! Haha!
Now! Rock it away!
The naming convention kind of reminds me of Jose's children. Oh, I don't know Jose's children off the top of my head. My bit rate. My poor bit rate. Oh! Minecraft is the same. How you doing, Sub-Zero? Ow. Anything I can jump onto? Nope. He has like a quarter of a health bar left. I basically just have to jump back on top of him and he's gone. Oh, look at that. He restored the city. Does that make him a hero? I'm confused. No, the blocks have physics. Hey, JM. Yeah, you missed the cutscene. I don't know who you are, and I don't care. Hey, Bacon. I guess no one ever loved you goes hard. Yeah. Honestly, Woody has the best speech in the entire game. And he just gets to completely dress down Xehanort in that moment.
Xehanort got away again.
Yeah, he's a big chicken.
I'm sorry.
What?
I wanted to get you back to the real world.
Not pity, not my
It
people.
does seem that we're trapped here.
We'll never get home.
Yeah, stuck like pigs.
Our position appears fixed.
Oh no!
A shame we'll have to stay a little longer with our new best friends.
Huh? After all the adventures we've had,
Yeah, but we gotta
we're
go.
not quite ready to say so long.
Yeah, but we are.
You guys.
I'm sorry that I was being so stubborn. Please forgive me.
Hey, you were just looking out for your friends. No biggie.
Yeah, somebody's got to be the sensible one.
Huh?
Especially since Woody's always getting in trouble.
Gorge,
Oh, that Woody.
sounds a little like Sora, don't it?
Huh?
Yeah, and I'm the dependable one.
Like Buzz. Kinda.
Oh, CJ, I'm completely the opposite. I actually prefer if his outfit doesn't change.
Besides, if we do go back to the real world,
I find it into
we'll
very
never see you
distracting and
again,
annoying.
Right?
Oh. But what about Andy? You care about him so much. Oh.
And he's still right here with us.
Whoa.
If we follow our hearts, we'll find him again.
Yeah.
So, Sora, are you going after the guy in the black coat?
Something tells me we can't join you on that mission.
That's okay, because you become part of our hearts.
Oh.
So let us become a part of yours.
I guess you could say,
Thank
you've
you.
got a friend in me.
Now, off you go. To infinity and beyond!
He said the thing! Here you go. Woody kind of spits bars in this game. Heart, 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 hearty, heart, hearts. You're my favorite deputy. Okay, so we're approximately up to 3 cutscenes since starting 15 minutes ago.
What about the power of waiting?
You had to remind me?
Well, Gorge, we just want to help keep you motivated.
I was thinking about Roxas. He's trapped here in my heart. But he needs a body to be himself again.
Well, don't worry. Yenzo's working on a way to get him free.
We're going to science and magic
betcha
that
he's got the
problem.
perfect body all lined up.
You've got the gummy phone, Sora. Why don't you try giving him a call?
I guess so.
Sora doesn't know how phones work.
Yeah. Why not?
Oh, hiya, Sora.
Your Majesty!
Hey, hey, what? Wrong number?
No, Rico and I are visiting Radiant Garden.
So this phone only works on
Actually,
area codes.
we were
It's a
just about to
party
call
line
you guys.
system.
But it looks like you beat us to the punch.
Sora, is something wrong?
I wanted to pick your brain. In order for us to recomplete Roxas, he needs a body, right?
Yeah, to put his heart in.
Party line system with exclusive video calling seems like a bad idea. Yeah. Chip and
Replicas.
Dale weren't doing their best work when they made these things.
Well, replicas are basically human.
What?
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't remember.
Duh.
The previous Organization 13 developed replicas, realistic vessels to place hearts in. They're so real, in fact, that you'd actually mistake them for people.
Sorry, you've
And with
mistaken
hearts,
several of them for
the
people,
replicas
actually.
will become people.
Cool. But if we
That's not how people work.
will Roxas look like himself when he's recompleted?
Yup. The replica takes the form of the heart inside it.
That's perfect.
I'll talk to Enzo. He was in the organization back then, so he might know more.
Great. Thanks. Wait. Do you guys think they're after replicas too?
No, they've already developed them on their
They
own.
definitely said a black box.
Who's that?
Fair enough. This is how people work.
The organization and
Valid.
Maleficent. Oh, oh.
I guess we forgot to mention it.
Oops.
Aw, it's okay. But there's something you guys should know about one of their members.
Huh?
So let the rest of us worry about Roxas and Naminé for
But
now.
we don't get to find
We'll
out who
journey
we're
on
worried
and
about.
keep an eye out for Terra.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Stop that!
They don't change, do they?
Nope, that's their best quality.
Well,
Is there a
we gave
difference,
Merlin the
Bacon?
vestments for Kyrie and Axel. Let's go stop by Ansem the Wise's study.
Right.
So the king wears a biker jacket? Well, the biker jacket protects him from the power of darkness, so he can go to the dark world and fight the darkness with the Keyblade of Darkness.
Sora, I think you're ready for a teeny ship.
Thank you. Wait, really? Yes, actually, I'm not joking, and I hate that. I have unlocked... The darkness of darkness? Yes. Yeah, no, yeah. The bringing new meaning to the word, or to the phrase, Heart of Darkness. English lit professors are rolling in their graves. Hey, Alchemist. Do I have plans to play Bravely Default? Not particularly at this time, but I might be convinced. It just came to PC. Okay. Yeah, I've never played it. I don't know a lot about it other than it's an Atlas game. What's my opinion on Kyrie in this game? Boy, her wrist sure is her weak spot. Sure would be great if she had some character. Do a barrel roll. You can't really do that. No, no! I didn't actually want to get into this fight, but we're doing this fight. Default is Squeenix. Oh, okay. I thought it was... Here, I also have weak wrists. Yeah, but would that... Grabbing one wrist stop you from being able to do anything? Look, now I can do something like a barrel roll. How was the vacay, Roxy? Yeah, I mean, I guess proof that I don't know anything about Bravely Default. Oh, that's a big laser. It's hot in the desert. Surprise. I thought you were skiing. Oh, both. Oh, okay. I don't... The problem is she's just not given really any screen time or character development to do anything. Like, I think she's actually got the opportunity to be an interesting character at the beginning with the whole training with Axel bit, but they rushed past that when that should have been a playable section, I think. You could have made a whole world around that and played as the two of them doing some training and, you know, do a couple sparring matches in between some of their talks with each other. that sounds nice. Even for you, Kairi doesn't need to be a warrior. Yeah, no, and it would kind of be absurd for her to be on that level, but like, she is training to use the Keyblade. And I mean, she has a strong heart. I mean, we know that canonically because Naminé exists. So I think they could have done something with her. I'm gonna abandon this battle. It's going poorly. You know, they could have done something with her. Maybe more magic-based. You know, still be useful. But, like, the problem is, it's not that she's useless. It's just that she's not given a ton of screen time. And then when she does show up, she's just put into danger and nothing happens. Anyway, let's go to the Kingdom of Corona. It's the most Star Fox gummy sections. Yeah. I like this gummy ship system in 3. I think it's actually fun to just play around in it and explore.
Why can't I go outside?
The outside world is a dangerous place. You must stay here where you're safe. Do you understand, Flower?
Mother knows best.
Those lights appear every year on my birthday. Only on my birthday. And I can't help but feel like they're meant for me. I need to see them.
She's
And
not
not
wrong,
just
but
from
that
my
also feels a
window,
little egotistical.
in person. I have to know what they are.
You must never go out and touch grass, lest you not be seen as a gamer. Yeah. I mean, technically, isn't Melody of Memory all from Kairi's perspective? And therefore, she is the player character? Does this girl know when her birthday is? Mother Gothel is still her mother. Incredibly blasphemous.
It sure is a pretty day.
Yeah, the weather is great.
From a Kingdom Hearts.
It'd be perfect for a
From a
picnic.
Kingdom Hearts standpoint, that's even harder. Yeah, but she didn't.
Got me, Donald.
So that's on
We'll
Gothel.
figure it out as we go.
I'm sure we were brought to this world for some good reason, but can't we sweat it later?
Fine with me, as long as there's no harvest.
You had to say it. Hello, Eugene Fitzsimmons. What does Goofy keep in his cargo pants? Lots of things.
Make way! Make way!
Heartless! You see, soon as you mention them, they show up.
Good going, Donald.
There goes our picnic.
I didn't do it.
It's okay. Let's send these guys packing.
Say, since you three seem to know what you're doing, mind if I leave this one to you?
Yep. We'll take care of them. Go on, skedaddle.
You have my thanks. Whew. The horse was enough. Don't need any monsters on my trail.
What's enough?
The haunts.
Oh, nothing.
He's
Name's
addicted to
Flynn,
playing
Flynn
Uma
Rider.
Usame.
Oh, watch out. They look mad.
Speak the Heartless will appear like the devil or Joe Hendry?
Out of here.
Oh dear. Sora, letting criminals go with no questions. He doesn't know he's a criminal. In his defense, he did just meet him and has no proof or any reason whatsoever to suspect anything. But yes, Sora does have a problem with letting criminals just go. Eugene is off to get his dailies in Ume. In this essay, we'll prove that Sora would have joined Maleficent if she found him first. Probably. Welcome on in, Raiders. You are connecting. Oh, it's a rough one. Welcome on in, KMax. Thank you for the raid. Hope you're doing well, Raiders. I am Father Evan, Catholic priest, streaming here on Twitch 4 days a week. Looking at the intersection of faith and gaming. Getting that copy down pretty good. Thank you for the shout out there, Gale. Kingdom Hearts 3 is going pretty good so far. We got the best line from Woody. Best line in the game. I don't know who you are, and I don't care. Flynn is his original VA. Rapunzel, however, is Kelsey Lansdowne. I don't know who that is.
Huh? Where'd Flynn go?
It's a good copy. It's almost like you didn't have AI write it. I didn't have AI write it. I don't have AI write anything. I don't like AI.
Huh? But
You think
that
Corona is your
way
favorite world in 3?
Just a dead end.
I think it's my favorite individual story.
Well, did he?
It is unfortunately just a giant
say we
hallway.
investigate.
I think Pirates is my favorite world, but I'm a sucker for boats and pirates and exploration.
Where are you?
You also don't like AI. Well, that's valid. Anyway, I really do like Favorite Deputy. It's a very good. Let's see. That's very good on strength, but it has Cure Converter, which I don't want. I probably want to give Sora, honestly, the. I'm gonna give him the gold amulet. I was thinking the expert ring, but yeah, high jump. I don't know why that requires points. It hasn't in literally any other game. Fire boost, traction enhancer. Those are nice, but not right now. Not enjoy collecting crab. That's a valid complaint. I do love the music of Corona. I mean, the whole soundtrack is good. I do quite like. Oh, I can't remember her name all of a sudden. The composer of Kingdom Hearts. Although for 3, a lot of stuff wound up being handled by new composers under her guidance, which is a kind of a cool way to train people and give them an opportunity to grow and get started. It costs AP to equip high jump in 2. I guess it does. I guess I was just thinking of 1.
I couldn't have come this way.
Well, At least he got away
There's
safe.
nothing behind there whatsoever.
Huh? Hey, now Sora's gone too.
Yeah, Yoko Shimomura, thank you. Yeah, she did all this stuff in the DLC, but there are a number of tracks here that were people under her guidance, which is, again, I think a really cool way to do it. Also, fun reminder that she did the music for Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. That was her first big project. Tower. Cutscene. Oh yeah, no, the project is like, if I didn't know, it's very consistent.
How you doing? The name's Flynn Rider. How's your day going?
Are we talking the cutscene count today or in total? Because I think today we're up to like 8.
Who else knows my location, Flynn Rider?
All right, hang on, Blondie.
Rapunzel.
Gesundheit. Here's the deal. I was in a situation gallivanting through the forest when I stumbled upon it. Oh? Oh, no, no. No, 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 no. Where is my satchel?
I've hidden it. Somewhere you'll never find it. So, what do you want with my hair? To cut it?
Huh?
Sell it?
No!
Wait, you don't want my hair?
No.
Why on earth would I want your hair? Look, I was being chased. I saw a tower. I climbed it. Okay? End of story.
Hmm?
Huh?
Just have a little confab with my chameleon.
Okay,
Lizard.
Flynn Rider.
Lizard.
I'm prepared to offer you a deal.
A deal?
Look this way. Do you know what these are?
You mean the lantern thing they do for the princess?
Lanterns? I knew they weren't stars. Well, tomorrow evening, they will light the night sky with these lanterns. You will act as my guide, take me to these lanterns, and return me home safely. Then, and only then, will I return your satchel to you. That is my deal.
Yeah, no can do. Unfortunately, the kingdom and I aren't exactly simpatico at the moment, so I won't be taking you anywhere.
She's the one with the frying pan, my dude.
Something brought you here, Flynn Rider. Call it what you will, fate, destiny. So I have made the decision to trust you.
A horrible decision, really.
I
You know how
am
much the evil witch
serious.
miscalculated by actually staying in the kingdom? Yeah, but do you know what the rent is like, or the mortgage is like on an evil tower in the middle of nowhere? Come on!
Then you give me back my satchel?
I promise. And when
Plus, I don't think
promise
she's a witch. I think
something,
she's just evil.
I never, ever break that promise. Ever.
Oh, what to do? I cannot let her find that tiara.
Zachary Levi
Okay,
likes the
just
games. That's awesome.
I need the satchel, and Blondie has it. There might be more monsters out there. I've got it. The 3 guys in the funny outfits. They look tough enough to come in handy.
Sir,
All right,
you're in a
fine.
doublet.
I'll take you. But on one condition. My 3 sidekicks.
Is Mother Gothel a witch in this? I thought she wasn't. I thought she was just a person who found the flower, and then when the flower was taken and used. Shadow Luna 12, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel.
Look at that! A tower! Let's check it out.
Sora is a very simple person. Sees the tower, goes, wow! Nope, I don't have any Damascus. That's okay. You know what? We defeated a boss and watched a bunch of cutscenes. Let's save.
Wonder who put a tower here?
Let's go find out.
Let's go watch a cutscene.
Huh?
One of these days, Gale, you're going to have to do the jambling on the number of cutscenes. Yeah, I'm curious what you mean by that, and I'm going to keep my eyes out for it, but
It's so soft.
you might as well be busy.
I'm
Yeah.
free. I'm really free.
Flynn! Good to see you in one piece.
No, it's heresy within the Kingdom Hearts lore. Like,
Nice. You're here
inconsistent,
and just
I
in
guess.
time.
Oh, who's she?
That would be Rapunzel. Something tells me this could be her first time outdoors. Give her a few minutes to get used to it.
First time ever?
This scene is very funny in the movie. I'm free, it's so wonderful. I've betrayed the trust of my mother. I am a terrible child.
I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did
Poor
this.
Mother Material.
I can't believe I did this. Mother would be so furious if she knew I disobeyed her and left the tower. But that's okay. I mean, what she doesn't know won't kill her, right? No. Oh my gosh, this would kill her. This is so fun! I am a horrible daughter. I'm going back.
I do like that we get the truncated version.
Back! I am a despicable human being.
Just a normal afternoon.
Ever!
I notice you seem a little at war with yourself here.
A little more than a little.
More not a lot.
Yeah.
Stop right there! Who are you?
Oh,
I told you before, my sidekicks.
sidekicks?
May I introduce,
Oh, my name's Sora.
And I'm Goofy.
I can see that, but what's your name?
Sora, Donald, and Goofy. It's nice to meet you too. I'm Rapunzel.
Yep, my sidekicks. Hey,
Since when is that?
look, she really wants to see the lantern show tomorrow night. Now, I'm a nice guy, so I've decided to help her. Only problem is those monsters might show up again.
Yeah.
I can get her to the kingdom, but you guys are clearly more cut out for combat.
That's because we're heroes.
Uh-huh.
And we're
I love how
fighting
instantly
experts.
he does that.
Yeah.
Just leave it to us.
Done.
We're heroes. Sure are, buddy.
I'm so interested.
Yeah, her heart's pulling her all kinds of ways.
The outside world must seem so big and scary. I know how she feels. Lucky for me, you two came along at just the right time. And the rest has been unforgettable. Yep, unforgettable. Just like your face.
Good one, Sora. Yeah, I don't know if forgets is quite the word, but
Come on,
you know,
now.
hard command for when they say the thing. Oh, tying in the themes
All
of
for
the
one and
worlds of
one
the
for
creator
all.
story. Yeah, this is one of the worlds that actually does that better, and that's part of what I'd love to do in the podcast is like talk about how does that fit in. Ooh. AARP Chiefs Rock. I'm just gonna call you Chief. But welcome on in. Thank you for the follow.
Look, the flowers are growing on top of the water. Maybe this isn't such a good idea after all.
Got a spike belt for some reason. I'm not responsible.
Look! What is that? It's so fluffy! Huh.
Heartless! Rapunzel, take cover!
I think you're asking for too much consistency from cartoons.
All right.
Bacon, but
I hate
you
to
know.
say it, but I'm letting you out of this deal.
What?
It's way too scary out here. Let's just turn
So
around.
Fluffy, I'm
and
gonna
take you
die,
home.
except actually true
No.
this time.
I am seeing those lanterns.
Oh, come on!
Rapunzel?
It's okay. I'm not afraid to face them.
Where'd your cast iron skillet go? That would be a very effective weapon.
Careful, Rapunzel.
I will. We need a tower.
So long. Here we go.
Halt! Parasite. The original actress in the movie. What's his name? It is Zachary Levi, but it's an impersonator, I guess, for Rapunzel.
It's over.
Okay, with like dice immediately film combat training. No, she's read books on combat training, so she's worked in the simulator. What's like from Metal Gear Solid. I've done 400 combat simulator missions. Yeah, Square gave Princess Peach a frying pan, so, you know, why not Rapunzel? She literally has one in the movie.
Try this.
Hey, Delta. She's going to ignore her admission that she is seeing the lanterns. Well, there are no lanterns to be seen. She's talking in the future to present tense. English is a weird language like that. This is the worst version of Sixth Sense. Kingdom Hearts Sixth Sense movie, or World When.
Rapunzel!
I'll give you as a frying pan as a starter. Call on. Dinosaur steal King DDD's hammer? No. It's a hammer that magically transforms from the Keyblade that Woody and Buzz gave him. Oh, how tacky.
Missing someone?
Who's there?
You're supposed to be dead.
She's such a precious gift. Allow me to assist you in getting her back.
Donald, do you want to tell us about ingredients? Oh, Marluxia is a
the
great
world
villain.
goes
I am
on
glad he's
forever.
back.
Here we go.
Copycat art. Yeah, this game has no original thoughts. I did not know that about Marluxia. I love that there's a signpost here when there's no other direction to go.
Dandelions! Look! Oh! Watch! Oh yeah, I thought that might work. But I wish there was a way to make more fly at once.
That is not what I meant to do.
There must be something I can do to blow them into the air. Let's see. Where are the most dandelions? Back off!
Sora, scatter the ones over there.
Fine.
Back off!
I like that she's not like amazed, like, wow, you have this amazing magical powers. It's like, oh, just scare them, please. Signs in case you're tempted to
They're
rock
just
climb.
like
Fair.
the floating lights. I never
Could it
imagined
be
the
Ice
forest
Age?
would be
I
so
thought that was
big.
DreamWorks.
The outside world is even better than I dreamed. I want to
That
see
still
what's
feels
at
like
the
a
top
weird
of that
choice, JM, because then it's like, then there's only one woman in the organization and she's a traitor.
hill. Rabbits!
Like, it still feels like the same problem. Amazed by magic, supposed to be raised by a witch. Okay, Mother Gospel's a witch, I guess.
Oh no! You're not picking on these rabbits. Nothing's going to stop me from stealing the lanterns.
What about... I don't know who you're talking about. Yeah, like, I don't remember anyone who fits that description. There have only ever been 13 members of Organization 13. Naminé's not a member of the organization. She's just coerced to do stuff on behalf of
Don't
them.
worry, it's safe now.
Ice Age was Fox, huh?
Oh, maybe they want to show
Name
us something. Let's
He's
follow them.
Steve. Ina. It's in the name. Of course, there's only 13. Exactly.
Where do you think the rabbits went?
I don't know, Rapunzel. I'm not a rabbit. Hoi, Bree. It's one of the worst worlds in Kingdom Hearts history. Changed my mind. Ooh, Gale, get in here.
Oh my gosh!
This is Gale's favorite world in this game.
I think they want us to have this. Thank you.
Atlantica? How about we get more specific? Atlantica from Kingdom Hearts 2. Do you hear 6 is empty? Yeah. Hot take. Hot take. You don't like Traverse Town? That is a hot take.
Look at all. Whoa! Oh, it's so refreshing.
Oh, it's your hot take. Oh, okay, that is a hot take. A wrong one, but
See? It feels nice. Over here.
My turn.
I will splash.
Oh, Sora.
Make tier list. I was never gonna do it after playing
You're in
3
for
on
it.
stream, but never did. Ah.
Oh.
A rainbow.
Hope we find some ingredients around here.
Yes, eel. In a stagnant pond. That's exactly where. This is Monster. I think Monster is fun, actually. Get lost in Monster? Yeah, that's the point. It's a maze. I get lost everywhere. I'd give Monster like a solid B. Are you bad at games or are you just bad at direction? Yeah, a lot too is just big hallways. I mean, a lot of 3's big hallways too, to be fair. What? No, I wasn't. Oh, Gale was accusing. Okay, I was not accusing. I was just curious. I found a moral. The moral of the story is don't eat mushrooms.
I know what to do.
You love mushrooms? Mods banned that man. Mods don't actually ban him. Like, be nice to the friend. But mods ban him. No, please do not actually ban for Time Game X out, even as a joke. The hot take Pirates is your favorite world in Kingdom Hearts 3. Hey, same here actually. Opinion is purely subjective. No. Mine's purely objective. I actually know how to ban people. Might be something worth learning at some point as a mod, but not right now. Instructions unclear. Ban streamer. Oh no! Help! I have become the Meep Corpse. I have been banned so hard I have become cartoon. Now don't commit crimes. No! Mods don't commit crimes. So that's where PNG tubers come from. Shh. It's our secret.
I can't believe how wonderful this is.
One of us, Geeble gobble, gooble gobble. Monster, you can do. No, I generally recommend that no one do crimes. It's not a crime unless you get caught. That's not true. Because that's getting to a matter of ontologically what is a crime.
Okay, that's suspicious.
Oh, Rapunzel.
Don't worry. I know to be careful around flowers now.
Whatever it is, it's not normal. I'll take a look.
Watch it.
What's the worst that could happen? It could be a nobody? Oh, it's Rapunzel. I thought you were just my corn husk.
Huh. We're all clear.
Oh no, I'm hearing ominous music.
These guys,
they're nobodies.
You've never seen this kind of nobody
Mother
before.
said
It's
the
new
outside
here.
world would be full of ruffians and thugs.
Poison ivy, quicksand, the plague.
I don't know.
Rapunzel, Flynn, stay back.
No, I want to help you fight.
I know, but I'm afraid you can't hurt these guys with a frying pan. Trust me on this. Flynn, could you explain?
No problem. Knowing when to flee is one of my specialties. Come on, Rapunzel. Gotta go.
But...
Look, I want to stay and slug it out too.
No, you
but
don't.
My sidekicks have it covered.
All right. Please be careful, Sora.
Sorry, he probably won't.
Of course there had to be nobodies.
Yeah, of course. We've never seen this kind before.
Yeah, Goofy's paying attention. Is it a crime? Well, to quote Aquinas, an unjust law is no law at all. Conflict? Yes. Flee. No? No problem. He's a simple character. He's a consistent one. Hey, thank you for the lurk, Bacon. Hope you get your work done on that stuff. Counter slash? That would require me to block. Oh yeah, no, you absolutely have to be careful how you determine that. But in general, on a public platform, I will say,
I'm
please don't
surprised we
commit
haven't
crimes.
seen 'em. I know you're there. Come out, you has-beens.
Has-beens? Now why would you say that?
He's been Norded.
Because bossing around nobodies? That's the old organization. Why? Are you in the real one too? Good for you.
My name is Marluxia, and yes, that is correct. How interesting it is to see you again, Sora.
Again?
Yeah, you kind of kicked his butt
You know him?
with cards.
A shame you've no memory of me, because I remember you exceedingly well. Although, it's those memories I'd soon erase.
I don't know what you're saying.
Nor should you. Nor will you ever, for that matter. Now, if you'll permit me, I've come to ask a favor.
Favor? You have got to be kidding me.
Please hear
How does
what
the
I
orc
have
have
to
time to
say.
take care of their hair? You know,
I'm sure you've
you gotta look
noticed.
fierce, I guess, if you want to rule the world.
Well, perhaps not. But you should know that maiden with you, Rapunzel, is the very light of this world. I would see you guard her from its dark horrors.
Huh? Starting with you, right?
All the organization seeks is balance.
No, it doesn't.
You must understand, our ultimate objective is not to clash with the light. We seek to complement it.
Yeah.
Use that Keyblade to keep Rapunzel safe.
He's got that unkempt, untidy hair look that you actually have to do a lot of work
Rapunzel's light.
to put into.
Hey, where did they go?
I guess they must have run on ahead.
Then we'd better go find them. I really don't like what that guy said.
Yeah, we'd better find Rapunzel before he does.
He probably already knows where Rapunzel is. He's got magic powers like that. If you want to keep Rapunzel safe, why empower and enable Gothel? Because they also just like messing with people.
Here we go.
You have to?
It's over.
You take care, Sub-Zero. Well, that's because they haven't had, like, 15 years to make side games in order to pad things out. Plus 4 starts a new arc.
Well, I'm starting
So
to
it
get
really wouldn't actually
hungry.
make sense within the Kingdom Hearts system to have a side game at this point.
I wonder where they went.
Don't worry. They couldn't have gotten too far.
You just had to stop and talk.
Hey, blame
There
the
was the mobile
has-been,
game
not
that got
me.
canceled. Because what we
I
needed was
think
another
you
mobile
mean
Kingdom Hearts game.
Marluxia. I bet that's the name the has-been would prefer.
Hello? Rapunzel! Flynn!
Excuse me, good travelers. Do you know Rapunzel?
Yeah, sort of.
Why?
My apologies. I'm Rapunzel's mother. The poor child left home without a word, and I've just been worried sick. Please tell me, where is my dear, sweet girl?
We don't know.
We'd tell you, but we lost her.
By accident.
No, you told her to go away.
Lost her? You're of no use to me. I'll find her myself.
She ran away from home?
What if
You guys saw
Marluxia
that whole
was
scene of her
onto something
going,
back there?
"Oh, it's so good to be free. Oh, I'm a terrible daughter." Like,
What? No, of course not. But what if?
I agree. Why is Rapunzel in danger? And what darkness is after her?
Well, guys, the first step is to find her.
because the light and
I hope
Sora is not an
Rapunzel's
observant
okay.
man. Okay, fair enough.
Yes, she's tough.
Yeah, and there isn't really any
Sure hope the woods here aren't haunted.
there's no real handheld market anymore. Because the Switch, yes, is handheld, but is still considered full. And I suppose there is a Melody of Memory that technically happens after 3. Yeah, Switch is handheld, but not in the same way.
I know what to do, Sora.
Like this. Back off.
Smashy, smashy hammer.
Please be all right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Just make a game just for Gale. Yeah, they did. It's called Chain of Memories, the original one. I should track down a copy of the original Chain of Memories. I've never actually played it. I've only ever done Re. Yeah, it's just not a market for dedicated handhelds anymore. And there are still handheld things you can buy, but they're all like emulation devices. If they did side games, they did mobile. Yeah, and they'd probably be gacha. I mean, to be fair, Union Cross had a non-insignificant amount of gacha. But I didn't really need a
I
ton
bet
of
we'll
it.
find some. I think I see something.
Nice.
Goofy sees a lucky emblem. I have no idea where it is. I might do the lucky emblems off camera with a guide to get Oathkeeper. Do that for the finale. Exciting thing about you and Cross, you had a boyfriend at the time who would not, no matter how many times I asked to explain the plot of the game, and honestly, now that I know, fair. Yeah, I mean, what plot is there to explain?
How do we get out of here?
Are all the ultimate moves just Disney park rides? No, it's just the attraction attacks are all Disney rides. They're all Disney rides? I mean, yeah. I mean, the carousel is not exactly explicitly the King's Carousel at Disneyland, but They are all rides you can find some variant of at the Disney park. Boat? What do you mean by... Oh, the swinging ship? I guess the swinging ship is the one exception. I wonder if that exists. That might exist at, like, Shanghai or something.
This might be a good spot to find some ingredients.
Space Mountain Pirates Caribbean an attraction? No. No, it's, there's Splash Run, which is based on sort of the Splash Run system of, like, California's Bear Mountain.
Hey, I think that's a lucky emblem.
Where?
Let's see.
Sometimes you can cheese it and it'll point it out like that. Yeah, a swinging ship is a common theme park ride. But I don't think Disney...
I bet you there's a lucky emblem here.
There it is. Actively has one. I could be wrong. There was, at the original Disneyland, there was a ship, Captain Hook's ship, on the lagoon. It was a restaurant, actually. There is the, is it the Columbia? There is a sailing ship that travels on the rivers of America. But anyway, so you have Splash Run, Blaster Blaze, which is sort of Buzz Lightyear's various blaster rides that exist. There's a roller coaster one, which is very heavily based on Big Thunder Mountain. Carousel. There's a carousel. What's some of the other
It's way more
attraction?
cheerful out here.
Uh-huh. Now where's Rapunzel?
Trying to remember all the attraction attacks. It's not that many. There's only like 7, maybe less. I bet that's good for the bit rate. Treasure. Hey, Damascus! I can level this Keyblade up more. And look, here's a Moogle. Oh wait, there's a cutscene.
Whoa. Easy, boy, easy. Settle down. Whoa.
What up, Maximus?
It's Rapunzel.
Haunts.
You are such a good boy. Yes, you are. Are you all tired from chasing
Horse is
this
just
bad
big
man all
dog.
over the place?
Excuse me?
Nobody appreciates you, do they? Do they?
Oh, come on! He's a bad horse!
Oh, he's
Bad horse,
nothing but
bad
a big
horse, bad
sweetheart.
horse, bad horse.
Isn't that right, Maximus?
Incorrect. Horse is big
You've
dog.
got to be kidding me.
Look, today is kind of the biggest day of my life, and the thing is,
No?
I need you not to
Cow
get
can also
molested.
be big dog.
Just for 24
There are lots
hours,
of kinds of big dog.
and then you can chase each other to your heart's content. Okay? And it's also my
Horse
birthday.
is absolutely
Just so you
big
know.
dog. Welcome to the stream. Come to watch a priest
You're
stream
here,
video games
and
and
you're
talk
okay.
theology. Stay for him to argue whether or not horse big dog.
You too.
And look, I meet a friend. Meet Maximus. You could say Flynn introduced us, and where one goes, the other follows. This is Sora, Goofy, and Donald. They've been helping me.
Come on. The kingdom's not far.
Okay, I was not prepared for that. Here it is. What did it happen? Was it in that cutscene? No, I did not. What heresy? I'm genuinely confused. Please take pity on your streamer priest and help him understand. I bet I should do some of these photo missions. Rapunzel introduced the trio as Sora, Goofy, and Donald. Huh. That is weird. That is weird. Anyway, I see that we have an girls guy very straight. Clearly, that's weird. Now I'm really curious about if anyone else had ever. I guess probably not. If fans are noticing that. Wow, yeah, I did not notice. It is always Sora, Donald, Goofy. You're right. That's so weird. Anyway, I see that we have a commercial break coming up. So this is a good chance for us to take our commercial break so we can all process that knowledge. So in 2019. I feel like I might have, but I guess I just didn't file it away, and it slipped past. Anyway, we're gonna take our commercial break. So take the chance to get up, get a drink of water, stretch, do what you need to do, and we will be back in 3-ish minutes. So don't go anywhere. And welcome back. Cannot skip that ad break, I'm afraid, Roxy, but appreciate the effort. Actually, you can skip it because you're subbed, so.
It's so pretty.
How about we stop for a second and enjoy the scenery?
Do we have to? I thought we were under like a deadline or something goofy.
Yeah.
The kingdom's not far, but we need to
Slide
scale
dead.
these cliffs.
Don't open inside.
Well, then
Wait.
let's look for a way up.
Well, I have magic high jumping powers and wall climbing abilities. Shiny.
This way, Sora.
How did you get up here?
Come on. Let's swing across and look for a path. Come on.
I don't know why her hair is animated on twos there.
You, Sora!
Hold on.
Here goes.
To defeat the Heartless, you must become the weapon. Why are there so many Heartless?
See ya. All together.
Sora's headed up to here with these Heartless.
It's over.
Sora, over here.
Yeah, I know, but like, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss a treasure chest or something. Sora's here to destroy Heartless and eat Pow Pow fruit. And he's all out of Pow Pow fruit.
Sora, this looks like a good place to cross.
My brain legitimately auto-completed that to look for ingredients. Chat, am I cooked? Hey, Canadian Mountie. It's going pretty good yourself. What if Hammer? I said halt. Hammer time. That's oh, hey, look, a lucky emblem.
Let's see.
Nice picture, Sora.
Yeah.
I think you should tell Hal that horse joke, Infinite. Hal loves horse jokes. Well, at least he loves horses.
I have got to get me one of these. Catch!
You also love horses. This I did not know about you, K-Max.
I wonder where this leads.
Up.
Sora, over here.
It's a giant wall. You just love animals in general. No, I wanted to go back and break the shiny rock. Still don't want them near me. Well, that's valid.
We're ready to go.
That monkey was rude.
Hold on.
Here goes.
Animals are great. Many of them are tasty. Quit stunlocking me!
It's over.
GCG cards arrived, but not until Wednesday. Well, they might arrive tomorrow. You might. Sometimes they'll still say, "Oh, we are expecting delivery Wednesday," but when they've shown up early, sometimes you still get them a day early, and then you rejoice with the day early.
Hold on.
Here goes.
Yeah, second form. Or third form, I guess. One horse down. Then the horse retreats to the other horse. There's the incubator. Not buying Power 9, shaking my head.
Go get him! Oh! Yeah!
I think I... Oh, dear. Chat? Chat, can you see what's wrong?
We're ready to go.
The horse is on the wrong side of the barrier. I can still hit it, so it's not a soft block, but that is almost a soft block. I have never seen that happen in any Kingdom Hearts game, so that's through this game about 50 times. Wow. Never see that. Yeah, you know, streamer luck. You find the glitches. It's insanely hard on crit. I believe it. I believe everything is really hard on crit. Because it's on crit. Partly stone horse would be too tough for hot dogs.
Hey,
Shiny
Sora,
rock.
this looks like a good place for one of your swan dives.
Yes, those swan dives that Sora is so well known up for.
Yeah.
Just wait to one-shot the final boss. Nice. What kind of shenanigan is that?
This way, Sora.
Ralph? Oh. Wait, where do you get Ralph again? Do I have Ralph? I do. I have no idea how to use Ralph, so... I always forget to use summons.
Sora, this looks like a good place to cross.
I'll have to check out a video on that. You should post one in the Discord. Pope Gregory III banned eating horses. Huh. When did Pope Gregory III live? And what reason did he give for banning the eating of horses? I'm just curious.
Sora, this looks like a good place to cross.
Don't push me off the cliff. Please. Just guard the opening, use Ralph, and make a tower while you're building super stacks into each other, and use the finisher when she dives on you. Okay.
Oh, look! I see some birds! This way!
Tweet.
Wait! Come back! I must have startled them. The birds flew that way, Sora.
Yes, I'm aware.
Oh, there they are!
It looks like Sora got hit on the head in a cartoon. 8th century.
Slowly, slowly.
Mage for pagan rituals. Ah, okay. That's interesting.
Please don't fly away. Oh! Nice and slow.
Gentle, Sora.
Yeah, I am being gentle. But I have to use these weird jump points.
Please don't fly away.
I've never seen
Have
a
bird.
bird like you.
That seems improbable. We're not that far from her tower for
Listen,
a
they're
bird to...
singing for us.
Yeah, a lot of mosaic laws tied to Canaanite.
Nice.
So the existence of the QR code here implies that Uncle Scrooge came to the Kingdom of Corona and was like, yeah, this will be a good place to plop a chest.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, breathtaking.
Last one to slide to the bottom's a rotten egg.
But Goofy, I have things I want to explore.
This is amazing!
Oh, I want to make sure I don't miss out on treasure.
Yeah.
If Mr. Ed was real, I would assume we wouldn't be allowed to eat him, yeah?
This is amazing!
I think that's just, yeah. Good, actually. Real horse or could actually... Also, they never explain what's with the giant wall.
I just knew the outside world would be full of amazing things.
Like, it's not in the movie. It just... There's a giant wall.
You helped me find them. Thank you.
It feels like they were like, oh, we need to put up a scrim to hide what we're working on in the skybox, and then forgot to remove it. No, a lot of them are hallways.
Rapunzel sure looks happy.
She does.
Well, her dream's gonna come true. They're sending the lanterns up after dark.
Cool. We don't want to miss that.
But we gotta do a rhythm minigame first. Trying to remember any of the worlds. It's surprisingly hard.
I think they're having a festival.
Really goofy.
Hey, is that a plaza up at the end of the street?
It is, but you know, we're gonna explore the harbor first.
This might be a good spot to find some ingredients.
Well, I hope the
I bet you there's a
restriction on
lucky
eating
emblem
blood has been
here.
lifted. I like black pudding. Cool jam. I'll have to check that out at some point. Thank you, Jam. The live comment on Disney movies with free food pack for lecture said by Mickey.
Aha! The people of Corona have a bustling economy that's heavily fueled by their fisheries. They make powerful allies.
Yes.
Oh boy, let's find some more.
That implies that you're helping.
Take this.
Mickey Strange Theater 3000. Well, I do want to do a watch of the Union Cross movie on the Discord at some point. Should I do that with Mickey commentary? Playing Resident Evil Requiem. You decide. Make some bullets or make a serum that could make zombies explode. Explode. How is that even a question? Nope.
I'll help you find the next one.
Mickey learning what gotcha is.
Sure is a busy
This is a
place.
brilliant idea. I can't wait to implement this into the kingdom. I'm going to make so much money. This will replace the taxes.
It's so crowded.
Nice moves!
Yeah!
I bet we'll find some ingredients around here.
I think this counts as stealing.
Yeah.
Maybe the real ingredients are the ones we stole along the way. Wait.
It's for the last princess.
The people of Corona have seemed to have merged with simple offerings as part of their prayer.
Oh. Come on, everyone. Come dance with us.
Now I kind of like the idea of doing a stream of Mickey, but as a, like, an anthropologist.
They use their devotion to buy into our schemes. I'm dancing! I'm dancing!
Is lighting a candle a kind of offering? Kind of in a sense. I mean, the greatest offering we make is in the Mass and the celebration of the Eucharist. I'm supposed to have, like... There we go. I'm like, there's supposed to be cues to, like, do things. You can dance if you want to. Leave our friends behind. This is not behaving right today. I think I've broken the kingdom of Corona.
Keep dancing.
You're dancing with what to see. Every speedrunner's favorite part of the game. I like that speedrunners know exactly how long the cutscene of Riku talking, monologuing in one is, so they can take a bathroom break. The Kingdom of Corona is a virus. See, I'm supposed to, like, it's green, so I'm supposed to do a perform near him, but, like... Like, I'm pressing step in the blue area where I'm supposed to, and it's not... There we go. Hey, Oguri.
This is so fun.
Like, those are supposed to be blue, not green.
Keep dancing. This is so fun. This is so fun. Keep dancing.
Hey!
See, and I can't... Like, I'm supposed to just... dance until you drop. Well, I'm ready to drop. If I hear someone hits a priest, they get excommunicated, but two priests fight each other, do they both get excommunicated? So hitting a priest is not actually an automatic excommunication anymore. It used to be in the 1917 Code of Canon Law, but it's no longer the case. But I think if two priests are fighting, it may not be a matter of excommunication, but it may be a matter of, there's some sort of problem here that we need to solve for the sake of their well-being and the well-being of the community.
Keep dancing!
Sora must be exhausted. If your HBO stories have any merit, well... I don't know if I'd necessarily go off of HBO to tell me about how papal elections go, but, you know.
This is so fun!
No, it's not, Rapunzel.
You got it!
This is so fun! Keep dancing!
You got it!
Generally shouldn't go around hitting priests. Yeah, well, even if, especially if you're a priest, I guess.
Huh?
Wow, it became night really quick. Sora was dancing for a while. You could say he was dancing the night away. Or I guess supposedly the day away.
I've been looking out a window for 18 years, dreaming about what it might feel like when those lights rise in the sky. What if it's not everything I dreamed it would be?
It will be.
And what if it is? What do I do then?
Well, that's the good
Start a
part, I
small
guess.
business?
You get to go find a new dream.
There are some great memes around the St. Nicholas and Arius thing. St. Nicholas says, ho, 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 homoousius. It's a lot of lanterns.
I have something for you, too. I should have given it to you before, but I was just scared. And the thing is, I'm not scared anymore. You know what I mean?
I'm starting to.
Just how much money is the kingdom wasting each year on these lanterns? Oh, no. See, the kingdom's not spending any money. It's making the citizens do this and make these out of using their own funds. It's somehow even worse. The lantern industry is thriving.
Huh, it seems that most people in Corona actually just work for the Lantern Factory.
I'm sorry. Everything is fine. There's just something I have to take care of.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Lantern industry praying for the princess to never be found. Or just praying everyone forgets why they ate the lanterns. It's like, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
Wow!
Yeah, exactly like fireworks. Oh, they heard the ominous music.
Could you guys have possibly picked a worse time?
The track is called
I don't
13th
think
Struggle.
They appreciate the moment, Sora.
Not one bit.
It's time for these wet blankets to go.
By the way, with tomorrow being St. Patrick's Day, make sure you wear something green to chat. I know I probably won't be able to see it, but still.
Here we go.
No, get back here. Get back here. You silly spinning tops. I will destroy you, you flowers. Is there lore to this? Oh yeah. There's too much of it, to be honest. Despite being called Kingdom Hearts 3, it's actually the 10th game in the series. Oh, I didn't actually want to do that. Let's do the finish really quickly. It's actually just going to do Flare Force. I love that attack. It's so useful. No, stop it. I hate that these nobodies have a fairly large window in which they're just invulnerable. Like that. Or the one that's spinning down there. It's obnoxious. Let's focus on recent movies. I don't think that would have changed much. Fire probably does break their invulnerability given that they're flowers. Yeah, no, I do not think that the problem is what Disney Worlds they chose. Because I think the lineup's actually pretty good. Who portraying Catholicism gets it most accurate in your opinion?
Eugene? Eugene!
That's a good
Oh
question.
dear, he's
I mean,
run
it's
off with the crown and forgotten you.
sort of
No,
safe, quote
he
unquote, to
wouldn't.
pick a Catholic movie would be like Romero.
Who are you?
But I'm trying to think of a secular movie that's portrays it really well, and they
Forget
do
Flynn
exist.
Rider.
A lot of
You
classics
know
like
where
Going
you
My
belong,
Way.
and it's not with
Do that.
him. Now,
The Mission. Yep. A Man for All Seasons. That's a good one.
Rapunzel!
Mother?
Mother knows how to gaslight best.
Oh, my precious girl.
Mother?
Are you all right?
I have not seen On
Are
the
you
Waterfront,
hurt?
so
Mother, how did you...
I was so worried about you, dear. So I followed you, and I saw them attack you.
Dead
and-
Man Walking.
Oh
Yep.
my.
I do think that
Let's go.
there's some
Let's
good
go
representation. Not
before
perfect,
they come
but
to.
yeah, but we've established she's a witch, so it's clearly a magical stick.
Huh? Hey, isn't that Rapunzel? Wait! Rapunzel! Oh.
show some decorum.
Make
Marluxia!
Sora?
The girl has found her dear mother. You should let them be.
And why is that?
Because Rapunzel is far too important. Atop her tower, she must remain out of sight and live out her days with Mother Gothel.
And never see anyone else?
But that's like locking her in some prison.
That is exactly what it's like. Rapunzel's hair holds the powerful magic of healing. And yes, Mother Gothel wants it for herself, as do others. And if Mother Gothel's actions will protect Rapunzel, preserve her, then she is doing the organization a favor.
Why not just pickle Rapunzel at that point?
What favor?
Let's say she's keeping Rapunzel on the shelf for us. An extra pawn in case you fail to find the remaining Guardians of Light. And we have occasion to call on other Hearts of Light instead.
Yeah, but she's not a Guardian of Light. She's a
new 7
Heart of Light.
hearts to fill out the ranks.
New 7 hearts?
Yes.
Organization 13 always chooses the losing
7
side.
who inherited the princess's light after their role was fulfilled.
So you don't care about her? You guys just want Rapunzel for your own purposes.
AKA, we
Well,
needed plot
you're
reasons
done
to
here.
have different princesses be relevant in the grand scheme.
I just knew you would go and make a scene. Very well. Then it's lights out for you.
Welcome back, Bacon. Did you get your work done? That would be pretty OP,
You
but
always were such a sound sleeper.
I returned to pickled Rapunzel. Now that is timing. Well, they need to preserve her. Would you rather formaldehyde? Salted. Are we talking dehydrated or freeze-dried? Okay, this bit's gotten weird.
I am the lost princess.
Please speak up, Rapunzel. You know how I hate the mumbling.
I am the lost princess, aren't I? Did I mumble, Mother? Or should I even call you that?
Oh, Rapunzel. Do you even hear yourself? Why would you ask such a ridiculous question?
Ugh, it was you! It was all you!
Everything I did was to protect you.
No, it was to protect your ability to use her.
My entire life hiding from people who would use me for my power.
Rapunzel!
When I should have been hiding from you.
Where will you go? He won't be there for you.
What did you do to him?
That criminal's to be hanged for his crimes.
No.
No, it's all right. Listen to me. All of this is as it should be.
No! You were wrong about the world. And you were wrong about me. And I will never let you use my hair again!
Wonder how collar tabs taste. Probably not great, they're just plastic.
You want me to be the bad guy? Fine. Now I'm the bad guy.
Oh no, she's gonna start singing Billie Eilish. How did he get free? Don't worry.
Lomax, roll, boy! Flynn!
Is Sora okay?
No!
We keep calling his name and shaking him, but he won't open his eyes. Wake up!
Unresponsive sidekick. Wait a minute. I know how to fix this. Max, give him a wash.
See? Horse. Big dog.
Sora!
Well, that did the trick. Nice work, Max.
Huh? How did I end up? Oh no! Flynn! Rapunzel's being held prisoner!
That's right. In her mother's tower.
Yeah, we have 3 dogs in
This
Kingdom
calls
Hearts.
for a rescue.
It's boy and dog and dog and duck and dog.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Has anyone here seen Snapcube's Kingdom Hearts Abridged? Or not abridged, real-time fan dub?
Let's go, Max.
But one of the lines there is... Maximus is an actual chat, yeah. But there's a line in there that's... It's like... I forget who says it, but it's like, boy and dog and dog and duck and dog. And it was sort of free in my head. Ah yes, the ancient medicinal cure for loss of consciousness.
We'll take it from
Horse
here, Flynn.
lick.
Go help Rapunzel.
Thanks.
I've seen the entire from Unraveled. Yeah. Yeah, Brian David Gilbert's together is great. We're horsing around.
Enough already. Get out of our way. It's over.
But good job getting knocked out there, Goofy. 10 out of 10. Hey, you take care, Mel. Hope you have a good evening. Was Sora still voiced by Haley Joel? Yeah, Haley Joel Osment. He's still voiced by him. Hey, you take care, Oguri. Next group of nobodies is going to get hit hard by this splash run. If we come across one. Yeah, I pressed triangle too late. Go get him. Getting pretty hungry.
Just me, or are the Heartless multiplying?
That can't be good. Hurry!
I think I've defeated all the little puffball monsters I have. Good, 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 good. How did I just miss this treasure chest that's sitting here earlier? The world may never know. I'm going the wrong way. I got turned around. There's one thing I really don't like about this section of Corona is it's very easy to get turned around because it's just cliff walls and greenery. I don't have to do these fights, but it's basically free experience.
there.
We are indeed goofy. Ow! Easiest way to do horse extermination, just use your laser blaster directly to the face. I think this is one of my higher tier bosses in this game. I think it's both visually interesting and a lot of fun.
Let's see.
Ralph Strat. No. Am I gonna play Procopia? Probably not. I've watched some gameplay and it looks a lot like Dragon Hunter, Dragon Quest Builders. Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2, which is not my cup of tea. United to Animal Crossing. There are some cozy games I like, but the more builder-oriented ones, I guess if I'm gonna do that, I'm more interested in just doing Minecraft. And I like Animal Crossing enough, but I'm not like super into it. I haven't played one since the 3DS.
Huh?
That's dark for Kingdom Hearts.
The tower.
I thought I got a picture of Puffball. Is that not what a Chief... Oh, Chief Puff must be when it's, like, stacked up on top of it. Is that what happened in the movie? Yeah, but even then, Kingdom Hearts often... it makes it less explicit. The fact that you see the knife. Glenn just got stabbed, but sure, go shopping. I don't know that he just got stabbed. You do. Okay. I thought this was like D&D. You're not supposed to metagame it. You hit him with the handle of the knife. Well, there's certainly no blood. Kingdom Hearts doesn't do that, but they like to handle a lot of deaths, even like villain deaths, off screen if possible. Stab him with a rubber knife. Yeah, he's just really allergic to it.
Rapunzel, really? Enough already!
Stop fighting! No! I won't stop! For every minute of the rest of my life, I will fight! I will never stop trying to get away from you! But if you let me save him, I will go with you.
No! No, Rapunzel!
I'll never run. I'll never try to escape. Just let me heal him, and you and I will be together. Forever. Just like you want. Everything will be the way it was. I promise. Just like you want. Just let me heal him.
In case you get any ideas about following us.
Eugene! I'm so sorry. Everything is gonna be okay, though.
No, Rapunzel.
I promise. You have to trust me.
No, I can't let you do this.
And I can't let you die.
But if you do this, then you will die.
Hey, it's gonna be all right.
Rapunzel. Wait.
Where'd this shattered piece of glass come from? We didn't cover that in this. Go watch the movie. Bloof, there's bloof everywhere. So did I stab him and set dive starvation? His sidekicks will come and save him when they're done shopping. Yeah, this film... Honestly, this film is great, just in general. But it does do a good job showing that sacrificial love.
Fall into darkness. We can't allow her near our pure light now. Her presence would only cast a pall over it.
So I'm going to turn it into a bigger danger of darkness. No, I think that is in the movie. This is definitely not in the movie, though. Unless it's in the director's cut. I haven't watched the director's cut in a while.
What happened up there?
Let's choose the real film streamer's chance. Have a director's cut of all the movies, and there's just like Sora in the background, not doing anything, just like standing there. You named the new car Pascal. That is a choice, Beer Fox, to name your car. Excuse me. Excuse me. Where's the... I said excuse me. Standing there, gasping at a dramatic moment. Just there when, like, when the Prince Charming kisses Snow White or Sleeping Beauty. He's there. Rafiki's holding up Belly Director's cut. He's there on the boat. Rafiki holding up Simba. Sora's just there next to the traps, like, whoa. Not even like cat form Sora, just like normal Sora. It's like this little Lilo and Stitch heads. Yeah, exactly.
Here we go.
I will not sneeze. I will turn my sword into a hammer. Are you fighting a shrubbery? Kind of. The Knights That Say Knee sent me. I mean, it's the darkness of a heart manifest in the form of, a monster, so. Quit making Goofy sneeze so much. I'm tired of hearing him go achoo. You know the Knights That Say, "Ik geb whoop boom slange." Fair enough.
Don't go. Stay with me, Eugene.
Soren wanted to touch grass. He misunderstood the directions.
Flower gleam and glow. Let your powers shine. Make the clock reverse.
Rapunzel.
Bring back what once was mine.
Rapunzel.
What?
Rapunzel. You were my new dream.
And you were mine.
Did an Emperor's New Groove? No, but that would be hilarious. Like, keep having Sora change animal forms and Donald and Goofy giving him a hard time about it.
Heal what has been hurt. Change the fate's design. Save what has been lost. Bring back what once was mine. What once was mine.
It's a shame none of them have healing magic. Donald doesn't know how to heal. We've established that. Classic Donald L. Cinema. Can't heal cutscene damage. Square Enix is smoking.
Rapunzel?
Eugene.
Did I ever tell you I've got a thing for brunettes?
She called him Eugene, but what did I miss it? And he told her on camera his actual name is Eugene, or was that scene omitted and we're just meant to know it from the movie? I'm happy everyone lived happily ever after. I need to watch the movie as DLC. This game already has DLC. We're gonna play it.
Wow, Rapunzel, you're finally gonna get to see your real home.
I know. I mean, I can't believe it.
She's already seen her
I can finally be
home.
with my real family. I couldn't have done it without your help.
You're welcome.
Well, from where I'm standing, the kingdom couldn't ask for a better princess. And I couldn't have asked for better sidekicks. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much.
Happily ever after.
Mm-hmm. Now finally, Ryan, you and Maximus play nice.
Huh? Fine.
You had no idea his name was Eugene until now. Okay,
You're
so
gonna be
yeah,
great.
there's a thing in the movie where he's like, yeah, my real name's
We haven't
Eugene.
seen the guy controlling the monsters in a while, so that's one less worry.
But there's still a chance that he might be around here somewhere.
Well, if he comes back and tries to bother Rapunzel again, then Flynn will keep her safe. And we three won't be far behind.
Come on. Rapunzel's the tough one, if you ask me.
True. But nevertheless, I won't let her out of my sight.
Oh, Eugene.
Eugene?
Oh, that's my real name. Eugene
Like Fitzherbert, not
Fitzherbert.
Fitzsimmons.
That's right. I never told you guys.
That's different.
I think it's a great name.
Me too. Nice to re-meet you, Eugene.
Hey, I thought I was the only one you were going to tell?
Don't worry. I've saved plenty of Fitzherberty secrets just for you.
Really?
Hey! What are you two lovebirds talking about?
Nothing!
Nothing.
You can tell
Ew,
us.
they're flirting.
Yeah, it's not nice to keep
kid.
secrets.
This one is none of your business.
Maximus, get him!
Huh? You have got to be kidding me!
Kingdom of Corona. Emote only chat. Okay. Have fun in emote only. Ever After, which is actually a pretty fun one. It's magic based, but I'll get to the Rotata when we get back to the gummy ship. I promise I did see it.
Another world where we got doodly squat. You sure this box thingy's even real?
Yes,
Yeah, just how do you know that?
it is etched.
What does that mean?
It's what?
Come with me.
Where to? Those bozos ain't gonna help us. Sora's sure not looking for the box.
Who said anything about following them?
No.
A whole side story that just gets completely fumbled.
What? We're too late?
This is 3 cutscenes
Yes.
after the boss fight.
Evan would know all about the replicas from his time as Vexen in the organization. He was recompleted like the rest of us, but he didn't regain consciousness. After Lee left, he must have woken and taken his leave. Alias here and Dylan went out and turned the whole town upside down to try and find him. But no Evan.
That's not good.
What about his research?
Unfortunately, his work on the replicas was incomplete. There may still be documents around, but all of them from well before he made any significant progress.
Do you have any idea where he might go?
There's no place that he could go now that he's human. He has no means of leaving this world.
But what if he stopped being human again?
The dark corridors.
Are beyond his faculties and mine now.
Why?
Oh. But not everyone's. What if Evan was taken?
Of course! The organization could also use the replicas.
To fill out their ranks.
We'd better go tell Master Yen Sid. And Sora. And the others, too.
If only you had an instantaneous communication device that could do that from right there. Four cutscenes.
Humanity is a precious gift, and yet you desire to return to the organization?
Oh yes, of course. One eradication at Axel's hands was enough to learn where not to place my trust.
He gave you a second lease on life.
He ripped me away from the one thing I care about. I don't require humanity. Give me my research. I must see it to fruition.
Yeah, that kind of focus is dangerous.
The replicas.
Yes. Soon they will replace, not
Gosh,
just
I wonder if it could be under the
replicate.
hood.
Given a heart, they can become just as real as any human.
What excellent tidings. I would hate to think we invited you back into our ranks, only for you to fail to deliver our final vessel, Vexen.
It was Vexen all along? Oh, but he has been Norded, because he doesn't have green eyes anymore. He has the yellow eyes. Voyage to a new zone. Okay, so a little delayed. John's Gospel, it's the version of the healing of the centurion's servant. And there's a really interesting point that this makes, is that Jesus returns to the area of Galilee, to the city of Capernaum. But it starts this section by saying that he went off to Samaria first, because he was not accepted as a prophet in his hometown. So what's interesting is that it's intentionally putting that there to remind us that even when he returns, it's an outsider who is getting it. And so that's a very common theme in the Gospels in general, but especially in John, the way that the outsiders are drawn in and made part of the kingdom of God, the community of believers. And for us, we are invited to see ourselves in them as well, and understand what that means. So, level 26, that's pretty high. Level 24, that's pretty high. Let's go to level 24. Sometimes the UI of this one is a little confusing. Anyway, I'll bring y'all out of emote only. Look, you can use words again. Wouldn't mind visiting one of these first, actually. Interesting story said just after the movie. Yeah, that's a nice touch. There are some of the worlds. Nightmare Before Christmas is an interesting one because you visit before the movie and then you're after the movie. I can use words again, just like you can use the controller again. Ouch! You're not wrong, but also... So a common theme in the Gospels is the way that outsiders, i.e. the rest of the world, can in fact be a part of God's family and community. And it's easy for us to lose sight of in our modern day and age, but, when we read the letters of St. Paul talking about, hey, you need to welcome the Gentile brothers and sisters. Yeah, like Gentiles. And so we can ask ourselves the questions of in what ways were we outsiders and brought into the kingdom, and what way are we invited to find and respect outsiders and bring them to the kingdom. To see that God's presence is at work already in them. Ow, I just smacked into that thing to activate it. Sykes is voiced by Kirk Thornton, who's been the voice of Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh, wow. Now I can't unhear that. Thanks, Sub-Zero. Who's the official of the sick child, the Gentile? Well, it wasn't a sick child, it was a servant. But, yeah, it was a Roman centurion, so absolutely, by definition. And that's an important part, too, is the fact that he is a Roman. You know, he's the occupying power. Therefore, it's like, we hate him, but Jesus shows a different understanding. No! Just barely missed that. Because voice of Shadow since Free Riders, not 2005. Okay, he's still the voice of Shadow. Yeah, that's exactly the story that is Today Hope. Dang it! Ah. I dawdled too long on that other one. I think I can get this with the setup I have. You can do it faster if you have faster moving or more cannons. The Roman officials that became Christians during the time because of Jesus. Yeah, I mean, there's the one who pierced him in the side with his lance is the most prominent example, I'd say. Saint Longinus. Dang it! Ah, no. Oh, wait. No, I got it! Oh, that was barely. I need to go find some blueprints is what I need. Yeah, the legend is that there's no scriptural basis of it, but the legend of Longinus is that he was cured of blindness.
Is something there?
Yep, Donald, there is danger. There are a lot of mines. This is a problem. Ow. He's charging his laser. Another Legend of St. Peter converted as jailer. That one, I think, is actually an axe. I could be mistaken about that. I don't... There are parts of Scripture I definitely do not have memorized. And sometimes this is where being Catholic is not a disadvantage, but makes it harder in some ways, because it's like, oh yeah, is that actually in Scripture, or is that just legend? But I'm pretty sure that one's in Scripture, because Peter baptized the whole family. It's like, that's an important part of the story. Because that's part of how we scripturally look to justifying baptism of children. Acts chapter 16. Okay, it is in Scripture. I was right. But, you know, there are things where it's like, you know, Peter being, yeah. There are certain legends where it's like, about the apostles and things. It's like, yeah, is that one actually in Scripture, or is that an out of Scripture one? B is for perfect. Was Christianity seen as a threat during that time? Well, the Roman Empire had a rule, and the exception was ultimately actually with the Jewish people, interestingly enough, but that you had to follow the Roman rule, and it's kind of a homogeny thing, that it's easier to rule because of the way that the ruling and the religious cult were so closely interconnected, and it's easier, especially because the emperor is seen as divine, and so it is a challenge and a threat to say Jesus is king versus Caesar is king. That it threatened the political hierarchy.
Oh! Whoa! What? Donald! Goofy! Why do you guys look like monsters?
You do too!
Well, you both scared me. Whoa!
Goofy's a little wall-eyed in this world.
Seriously? Is this how we blend in here?
Evo monster. I mean, it's a tribute to
Could you guys
Nightmare Before
take
Christmas
a few
from
steps
2.
back? You're giving me the heebie-jeebies.
You take a step back.
Yeah, come on! I think our new look could turn out to be lots of fun.
Hey, have they been monsters before? Why is this new? Like, they know Donald's magic works sometimes.
Wonder what kind of weirdos live here?
Who'd have thunk he'd get so creeped out?
It says, we scare because we care?
That's odd.
Doesn't sound very caring.
I think it would have been funny
They look like us?
if
then
there
they
was
could
a
be
nod to,
trouble.
like, one of the monsters
I
here.
think we
It's
better
like, hey, I
investigate.
used to scare you as a kid. There's nothing fantastic in Converse. I disagree with that. I think there are some fantastic elements. Especially the actual gameplay, when you get to do it, is really solid. And it's pretty.
Oh!
Like, it does look good. Music is fantastic.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whoa!
Wee. I wonder who those guys are.
What? Careful, Sully. If they see the KID.
It's fine. We got nothing to hide.
But you're the CEO. You set the example. Guys, it's not what it looks like. Okay, listen. That kid over there just popped out of nowhere. We gotta call the CDA. It's, oh yeah, a code 835.
Are you trying to scare that little girl?
Yes! I mean, no. We're done with scare power. Nobody's getting scared.
Mike, take it easy.
You should.
If it's not
too,
Billy Crystal, it's a
Sora.
good impersonator.
You see? She's happy.
Oh. Hello. My name is Sora.
Boo!
Oh, is that your name? Nice to meet you, Boo.
Hold on! You guys really aren't afraid of humans?
Mike Wazowski!
Huh?
Come on, Boo! I'm Mike Wazowski!
Mike Wazowski!
Well, you can see the resemblance. That googly bear eye.
What's going on? I'm gonna die.
Mike Wazowski!
I'm Goofy.
Well, my name's Sully, and this is...
Oh, we know. Mike Wazowski, right?
So the
What's the matter, Boo?
actual monsters. Unversed? Nope. Guess again.
Huh? No. That's not the Heartless's emblem.
Heartless is.
And how come I feel like I might have seen him before?
Well,
Well,
they
you
aren't
haven't
friendly.
really, but anyway.
Stay here, kitty. We'll be back.
Well, they do pretty good impersonations.
Those guys are right, Sully. This has got bad news written all over it.
Yeah, we gotta keep Boo safe.
Guess again, Mel, those aren't heartless at all. Those are unversed. They're the manifestations of negative emotions. Back in Birth by Sleep. When did they see them in Birth by Sleep, though? I'm trying... Like, we don't even see them, really. Like, maybe they saw them in Disney Town, but...
It's over. Here we go.
But one of my coworkers, the co-host of the radio, producer of the radio show, she has 2 young daughters. One of whom is a toddler and is learning to talk. And apparently, the first daughter picked up Father Dave, like specifically as the full phrase, like Mike Wazowski, back against its tower. Oh, you're right. But anyway, the first one picked up Father Dave pretty easily and like understood Father Dave, and would always say Father Dave, much like Mike Wazowski. You know, saying the full thing. The second daughter, for whatever reason, is like, Dave.
All right.
Nice, Sully. Even with those extra pounds you put on.
Still running circles around you, Butterball.
Kitty!
What?
Right,
So
after this
any idea
cutscene,
who those guys were?
we will save and wrap up.
Well, they couldn't have been heartless.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
I remember the king told us something about negative emotions.
Goofy does not have negative in his
Oh,
lexicon.
Yeah, them!
Unversed?
Uh-huh. A while back, the king fought a whole bunch of battles against them with the 3 missing Keyblade wielders.
The same 3 that we're
Aren't you
looking
supposed
for?
to not be talking about this sort of stuff in
Aqua,
front of
Terra,
him?
and
Whatever.
Ventus?
We didn't want the Pokemon
Yeah,
out
exactly,
you.
no.
Hey! Still, how come the Unversed are showing up now?
I should be testing your screen power.
No, it's
Hey, I
because
told you we're
what's his
through
face is
using
here.
Besides,
Vanitas.
we have no idea who
Oh,
or
sorry,
what
spoilers.
you're talking about.
Oh, you'd really like the king.
Uh-oh! Oh! Order!
You guys have already broken that rule.
Basically, we've come from far away to get rid of those creatures causing trouble. We're like exterminators?
Just how far away?
As far as you can imagine.
And then some.
Okay, let's just say we buy all that. Are those creeps dangerous?
Extremely.
They sure gave Boo a scare.
Sully, I know you've missed her, but it's time to postpone our playdate.
You're right, Mikey. Let's get our girl home.
What are you planning to do?
It's kind of a long story, but Boo's from another world. And we gotta send it back there to keep us safe.
Okay then. We're gonna help you.
What?
Well, the Unversed might try to cause more trouble. So, we want to come along.
Great! We could use a couple of exterminators around here.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Hey, they need us. Besides, we need to figure out how all those Unversed got here.
I'll feel much better when Boo's back in her own room.
Me too. Good thing the laugh
I know there's a save point around here somewhere.
Come on, fellas!
There it is.
Yeah!
All right. Sounds a bit like Kermit, a little bit. But thanks so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Join us again tomorrow. We're playing Morcana, Bridge of Spirits. Join us again on Wednesday for Midweek Minecraft, continuing to build up the church. And then Thursday, more Super Mario World 2. And I think that's everything. So thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And let's see who's live that we can raid into. Okay, send you over to Banana is Hannah. Raid call is Father Raid. Go give her some love. Anything else? No, I think that's everything. So anyway, hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless.